Oh.
Okay, on to notes for today. Oh, shoot. So the new stuff today, we're going to do range in a bit. But first we're going to talk about creating a graph. So you want to make sure you listen to this because this is new. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a graph now that has a given domain. So this domain is the numbers between -2 and 3, and it includes -2. And does it include 3? Yes. No. No, right up to 3, but not including it. Okay. So we find -2 on our graph, and then anywhere along this vertical line here, we can put a closed circle, say right here. You can put it anywhere along that line because that has an x value of -2. Sure. You can put it right here if you want. Put it down here if you want. So anywhere along this line here. So now we're going to go to 3, and x value is 3, and I can put it anywhere along here, and it's going to be an open circle. So I'm going to end it down here at this one. So I can make a line just going straight from it. I can make a curve. If I make a curve, I just can't take that curve and move it in this direction or that direction outside of that domain between -2 and 3. Does that make sense? But if you want to just draw a straight line between the two, that's fine too. Questions on that? These are a little bit harder because you have to think about what would work.
So would it always be in one form or the other, or could you put it in like the other form where it's like x is greater than, or wait, not put them both together? Does that make sense?
I'm not sure. Oh, so this is going to be given to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just have to interpret what is given to you. So you have to know what that means. You need to know what that means. So when you have two numbers on the sides, it's between those two numbers.
Okay.
Including this one, not including that. Okay. So right here at this point, this x value is a -2. Yes?
How do you know how high it goes?
It doesn't matter. So I could, if I wanted to, I could put my -2 right down here. Good question. Does that make sense, Sebastian? And then this same thing with here, this 3 could go higher, lower, doesn't matter. Because it's just the domain that has to go from here to here. Okay, so more than one possible answer, not just one answer. Okay, now we want to have our x value is less than 7. So we want to start at an x value of 7. So anywhere along this 7 here, and is it going to be an open circle or closed? Yes, it's going to be open. So wherever I put it, it needs to be open. So I'm putting an open circle there. And then I want to go to the left. So what if I go like that? Would that be okay? Yeah, it's going down a little bit, but that's okay. It doesn't matter whether it goes down or not. It just has to go towards the left. So if I wanted to put it up, I could even make a little squiggly and go up, just so I don't go past that point there. Does that make sense? Go ahead and do the U-turn. Did you have a question on that?
Yeah. Just a tiny question. Where's the circle?
So that means it doesn't include that one. So it goes.
Oh,
yeah. And so see, this includes the -2 is the line, and then it does not include it. Open. answer?
No.
No, actually, the only thing I don't want to go.
Period. Okay, so this is a possible, oh, she already put it there, good. Possible answer. She put a closed circle at the 1, an x value of 1 could be anywhere along here, and then she went to the right. So that arrow, that line and arrow can go down, it can be a curve, just has to go in this direction. Okay, on to the next one. So now we're going to find the range, and we're going to put it in inequality notation. So range is what? Values.
Y.
Y. What direction are the Y's going to be? Up and down. So the Y's are up and down. So we're looking at up and down here. So we want to know up and down because it says range. So we want to start with the smallest. What's the smallest?
Big one. Oh, one.
1. And then what's the biggest? 6. So we can say x is greater than or equal to 1 because it's closed. Oops, sorry. Thank you. Y. Good job. Y is greater than or equal to 1 because these are Y values now. Who just said Y? Somebody said Y. Yeah, very good. Very good. Good job. So Y is greater than or equal to 1, and Y is
Less than or equal to 6.
yes, less than or equal to 6. And you can write that like this: 1 less than or equal to Y less than or equal to 6. Either way, it doesn't matter. That's your inequality. So we're just starting with inequality. Okay, so number 5. What do you think about that one?
Y is less than or equal to -4.
Yeah, so we've got a Y value here of -4. And so your Y is going to be less than or equal to, because these numbers down here are smaller. So it's less than or equal to -4. So some students like to write it with the infinity there. So if you did that, it would be negative infinity less than Y less than or equal to -4. If you want to do that, you do not have to. You write it like this or this. You don't have to write it like that. Okay. Can I move on to the next one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and do the U-try.
Where?
No.
No.
Not a no, that's a cat. You know how to put skates. My name is like that.
No, I can do it.
Oh, you know that. You penguins, sir. What?
I said in Brazil, in Costa Rica.
You're Peruvian?
Yeah.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
For real?
What?
What?
Oh.
You are not Peruvian. Are you? You're not Peruvian.
No, my mom is Peruvian. My dad was.
Your dad is white?
Yeah. My dad's full white, my
So you
mom's
have white half proven.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's for sure.
She can twist out mine.
Oh,
yeah, you do. I forgot.
Yeah, I really.
Oh, wait, yeah, and you're Peruvian, right? Oh, and so is what's her name? The long hair blonde. Yvonne.
How do you think I'm related to Jessica?
Good question.
Oh.
Me.
Right there, right?
So we want to find our y value here, which is a 1. And these values go down, so it's smaller. So y is less than or equal to 1. Does that make sense? So if you want to, you can write negative infinity less than y less than or equal to 1. So between negative infinity and 1. You do not have to write that way. You can write it this way or this way. That's fine. Yeah.
Let's say we did the second way, and if she like moved around the thing, would it still be right?
So when you do an inequality like this, really, it's really hard to get it right if you are moving things around.
Okay.
So I don't recommend it. Frequently, if students move them around, they get it wrong.
So the y always has to be in the middle for the x.
Right, and then it's so much easier if you put the smaller here and the bigger here, because it's more intuitive. Somebody wants to read that and see it, so it makes more sense, smaller than bigger. But again, you don't have to do it that way. Okay, now we're going to do interval notation. Okay, so how do we do the interval notation?
Wouldn't this be negative infinity and infinity?
To this one? No, because it doesn't go up.
No, I'm looking for
Number 7. Okay, hold on a second. So what do we think about the range on this one? Going up and down. So this arrow is going up.
No one's going down.
This arrow is going down. And so we want to say that our in interval notation, we're going to go from negative infinity to infinity. And we have to put the smaller one on the left. It's hard to remember to put that negative infinity down. That smaller one is negative infinity. You have to, when you put it in interval notation, you have to put the smaller on the left, bigger on the right. And then parentheses, bracket, what do we put around it?
parentheses.
Parentheses. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now on number 8.
Negative 4. Negative 4. Oh, is it the same thing?
So this is going to be the smallest number. So when we put it in interval notation, it's going to be a negative 4, and then this arrow up here goes towards what? Infinity. Bracket or parentheses on the negative 4?
Bracket. Parentheses, because it's an idea.
It is a bracket on this one, and this one is a parentheses, yes. Does that make sense? Bracket and then parentheses. Infinity always has to have parentheses because it's not an actual number.
If we accidentally do one or the other on the test, would you mark it wrong?
I would give you partial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why would we put the negative on that and not 1?
So we're looking at range, which is up and down. So this is the smallest y value here, and then the other y values go up. If we're looking at x's, then we would do this here, but we're looking at y. So high, low. Does that make sense? Really easy to get them mixed up. Okay. You guys still looking at this? Okay, now we're going to find the range, and we're going to write it in both inequality and interval notation. So, what's my smallest here?
Negative 4.
So this y value is a negative 4.
Is less than y.
Good, less than y. Why did she say less than, not less than or equal to?
It's open circle.
Open circle, that's right. And then what number goes on the other side?
6.
That's right, the high is a 6, less than or equal to?
No, that's not equal to 6.
Less than or equal to 6. And if you write that in 2, that's okay. You could say y is greater than -4 and less than or equal to 6. I don't care which way you write it.
So with the one, the y's have to be 3.
Yeah. What was your question?
Like this one, the y has to be.
Yeah. The y, yes. Because we're talking about range. Does that make sense? I know we're used to doing an x, and if you notice, when I first did it, I went to put an x accidentally, and then realized, wait a second, we're doing range, so it's a y. So now we want to do interval.
-4.
So -4, comma,
-6.
6.
Bracket.
So bracket here, oops, sorry, bracket here, parentheses here. Does that make sense? Because, oops, my bad. Yeah, this is open here, and then this one is closed. Okay, I'm gonna, I think these guys have got it over here, so I want to hear from somebody else. What's happening on this one here? Yeah, Santiago?
Negative infinity is less than y.
So you could do negative infinity, good, less than y, less than 2, good.
Or just y is less than 0.
Or y is less than 2. So that's your inequality. Because this is an inequality symbol here. Yeah. All of those are inequality symbols. So the interval notation, what would that be for the interval notation?
Negative.
So let's see if somebody can listen over here.
-2. I'm sorry, yeah, 2, negative.
Good, and remember we have to put the smaller on the left. So which is smaller, negative infinity or 2?
Oh, negative.
Yeah, and that's always hard because this is something new. So negative infinity is smaller, goes on the left, and then 2, and then we have parentheses or brackets. Parentheses. So I know you guys weren't here yesterday when we talked about this. A bracket means it includes the number. So this 2 has an open circle. This is the symbol for infinity, always a parentheses because it's just one number. Okay, that's it. Can I get somebody to pass on the worksheet to me?
Okay, so it's a long read.
Can I get somebody to pass this out?
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Did you put an H in it? No.
Okay, I will check off the homework, but right now.